Hi, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Mateo Lewis, and welcome to Music Theater Theory. Oh! So since this global pandemic has happened, I've spent most of, COVID times quarantined with my parents in Toronto, which was great. I got home cooked meals, it was fantastic. But now I'm back in my Oakville apartment with my roommates, and I've got this whole setup. So I was thinking, I kind of want to go back to recording videos for YouTube and posting them more regularly because I have the time now to do that, so why wouldn't I? Because I love doing this. I love, just looking at pieces of work that really, really resonate with me and trying to figure out why. So that's what I'm going to be doing on this channel. If that's something that interests you, hit that subscribe button wherever it is, and like, and what else do YouTubers say? Comment. So yeah, I'm going to be filming a new video every single week. Look for new uploads every Sunday for the next little while. And I'm going to start off this new chapter on this channel with a song from the first musical I ever saw on Broadway, which of course is Wicked. And I'm going to be analyzing today the song that I think is the reason that this musical is so successful, and I'll explain what I mean by that. It's The Wizard and I. Wicked, if you know the show, it's about the Wicked Witch of the West and her life. And the writers kind of expect you to already be familiar with the story of the Wizard of Oz, and this song really plays with those expectations. The Wizard and I is what's called an I Want song, which is basically a term that we give to songs that come very early on in the show in terms of the structure of a musical. And the protagonist comes out and addresses the audience and says, hey, this is who I am, and this is what I want, and this is what I hope to accomplish, and I hope you'll come with me on that journey. The Wizard and I specifically really uses our expectations of the world of Oz and what we already know about the story of the Wizard of Oz to kind of show us this character who is not wicked and is not evil and is just this really wide-eyed innocent kid with big dreams, and we cannot help but fall in love with her after this song. And I think that if this song wasn't as good as it is, it would be much, much harder to get the audience to cheer for this famous villain. But because this song is so quirky and endearing, we fall in love with this green girl right away. So the song starts like this. Did that really just happen? Have I actually understood? This weird quirk I've tried to suppress or hide is a talent that could help me meet the wizard. So already, this weird quirk I've tried to suppress or hide. She's correcting her words, she's talking over herself, she's insecure. And insecurity is a personality trait that we don't associate with evil. So already she seems so harmless and so lovable because she's so just this thing that I have never really been sure if people like about me, someone might actually like about me, and that's such an honest, genuine feeling that we can all relate to. So how can we hate this person already? And the song hasn't even started yet. This is just the intro. Help me meet the wizard if I make good. So I'll make good. And then it goes into the song proper. And so this idea of making good comes from a song that he had written to go at this moment in the show called Making Good. And that song got erased and was replaced with The Wizard and I, but this is a shout out to the earlier draft of this song, if you will, the song that came before. Making Good walked so the wizard and I could run, So I'll make good. And that glissando there, so I'll make Good is one of many things that Elphaba has in all of her songs. She has so many musical ideas like glissandos and pieces of melody that feel like magic, that kind of give her this otherworldly quality, that she's not quite human, she's got this like magical power, and it comes out in the music, in these glissandos and in these melodic ideas that I'll get to in a minute. So it goes, the beat drops, so to speak, and we get into this. And those 4 bars of music changed musical theater forever. There are 2 things that make up those 4 bars of music. There are 2 kind of musical ideas that have been stolen and used in every single I Want number in the musical theater canon ever since, pretty much. The first one is these repeated notes to build up this nagging excitement, using those repeated notes to build excitement, that's a technique that so many people have used since to create that same feeling that this song creates. Most famously, in Waving Through a Window. Dun, 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 dun. The other thing that everyone has stolen since this song came out are these syncopated chords. So syncopation is basically when a chord comes, a little bit before or a little bit after a beat that you expect it to come on. It's not right on the beat, it's not steady. It's kind of jarred off to one side. An example of what this would sound like if it wasn't syncopated is... It would just be but with this syncopation, there's a tied 8th note right before every beat or most of the beats. So you get this. And when the chords come at you that quickly, a little bit before you think they're going to, that anticipation of the beat creates an anticipation of the things that are going to come in the rest of the show. So combining that repeating note with those syncopated chords is something that you can find in every contemporary popular musical. And this song single-handedly made it as popular as it is. When I meet the wizard, once I prove my worth, and then I meet the wizard, what I've waited for since birth, and with all his wizard wisdom, by my looks he won't be blinded. So there we get that melodic shape, that semitone perfect fifth, semitone perfect fifth. That melodic shape comes back a lot in this show. Most notably, it's time to try defying gravity. That song has this semitone perfect fifth in the background of like the entire song. And it creates so much magic. And what makes this one even more magical than the other ones is that we're in the key of C, but it goes... So that F sharp, that is the sharp 4th of the major scale there. It's borrowed from the Lydian mode, which is basically a scale that goes 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like a normal major scale. It has that sharp 4 in it. And the Lydian mode is often used to create this kind of dreamlike floating feeling, which is really, really effective right here to give us that feeling of magic, to make us feel like Elphaba is otherworldly. And with all his wizard wisdom, by my looks, he won't be blinded. Do you think the wizard is dumb? Or like Munchkins, so small-minded? No. Munchkins, small-minded, get it? He'll say to me, I see who you truly are, a girl on whom I can rely. And that's how we'll begin, the wizard and I. So here we have the wizard and I, and she goes all the way down to that low G, I. It doesn't go what you might think it should go, the wizard and I. It doesn't end on that C, the tonic, that's kind of like the home base of the major scale that the song is using. The wizard and I. That kind of makes you feel like you've come home, like you've reached an ending. And what this song does is that the first two sections end with the wizard and I, and then the wizard and I, so they never go the wizard and I until way later on in the song, to kind of build even more anticipation, moving forward, to get the audience really, really excited about this kid's journey. The wizard and I. So there we have a very, very, very Stephen Schwartz thing, which is the... Stephen Schwartz is obsessed with that melodic shape, that semitone, major third, and then sometimes he adds a perfect fourth down as well. Ba-da-ba-bum. But really it's just the ba-da-dum, semitone, major third. There are two things that are really interesting about this melodic shape. And the first thing is that the magical melodic shape we were looking at before, this is the exact same but flipped upside down. F, E, C. If we did E, F, C, that's semitone, perfect fifth. And then if you go down, it goes semitone, major third. They use the exact same three notes. The other thing that's really interesting about this melodic shape, is that you can find it in two different places in the major scale. It can either start on Fa, or the fourth degree, so Fa, Mi, Do, and end on Do, the tonic, home bass, feels final. Or it can start on Do and go down, Do, Ti, So. That's the same. It's also semitone, major third. And then it ends on So. It ends on the fifth degree, or the dominant of the major scale, which is kind of the furthest thing from home bass. It leads you into the next section. So you can either have Fa, Mi, Do, end, or you can have Do, Ti, So. And what's brilliant is that Stephen Schwartz uses both of those two variations of this melodic figure. He uses them in both places in the major scale. In The Wizard and I, we're in C major, and he goes Fa, Mi, Do. And then, in Defying Gravity, we get Do, Ti, So. So it's the same melodic shape as The Wizard and I, that magical shape that comes up in all of Elphaba's music, but in Defying Gravity, it starts on Do and falls away from it, and in The Wizard and I, it starts on Fa and falls into Do. And there's probably a lot of different analyses as to what it quote-unquote means that Elphaba has this music in The Wizard and I, and then this in Defying Gravity. The differences between starting on Fa and then starting on Do, but having the same melodic shape coming down. I think that in Defying Gravity, the fact that he adds that extra Do at the end, Do, So, Do, Ti, So, there's our Do, Ti, So, and then Do, da, 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 Do. He adds that Do at the end to kind of give it an anchoring. Very much like a realization, like a moment of calm, that all of a sudden everything clicks into place and you realize what you're meant to be doing, She realizes that she's actually meant to be fighting against the wizard. Whereas in The Wizard and I, the fact that it's Fa, Mi, Do, and then he adds the So at the end, makes it feel a little bit less anchored, a little bit more excited, a little bit more happy, possibly naive. So it goes, the wizard and I. Once I'm with the wizard, my whole life will change. Here it is again. 'Cause once you're with the wizard, there's that semitone perfect fifth again. No one thinks you're strange. No father is not proud of you. No sister acts ashamed. And all of Oz has to love you. When by the wizard you're acclaimed. And this gift or this curse I have inside Maybe at last I'll know why, as we work hand in hand, the wizard and I. And one day he'll say to me, Elphaba, a girl who is so superior, shouldn't a girl who's so good inside have a matching exterior? And since folks here to an absurd degree seem fixated on your verdigris, would it be alright by you if I degreenify you? This is really interesting to me, this section. It comes out of we work hand in hand, the wizard and I, and it goes into this like A major 7, which kind of has nothing to do with the C major scale that we were in before, but it reminds me of the Unlimited section that's coming up, because it starts on this major 7th chord that comes out of nowhere. The other thing that's really interesting is the way that she talks about her appearance. We know that the Wicked Witch in The Wizard of Oz is green because she's so evil, you know. But this section is just her being like, there's this thing that I'm self-conscious about that I don't want to admit that I'm self-conscious about, but, you know, I kind of feel like, shouldn't a girl who's so good inside have a matching exterior? You know, I feel so good, but I feel like everyone sees me already as horrible, evil, other because of the color of my skin. And though, of course, that's not important to me, alright, why not? I'll reply. Again, not admitting her insecurities, but the insecurities shine through and we as the audience see them, and so we feel bad for her. But the fact that she's not admitting them, you know, alright, why not? You know, she's acting like she doesn't care. That's really, really endearing to us as the audience because, you know, it doesn't feel whiny. Alright, why not? I'll reply. Oh, what a pair we'll be, the wizard and I. And that's the first time we end on the tonic there. Wizard and I, the wizard and I. What a pair we'll be, the wizard and... So there again, this major 7th chord that comes out of literally nowhere. Where did that come from? And then we get this. Unlimited. That melody with those words, you know, unlimited, comes back over and over in this show. It comes back in Defying Gravity. Together we're unlimited. And then it comes back at the end of the show again in For Good. I'm limited. So this is the introduction of that motif that keeps bringing us back to how Elphaba sees herself. Right now she sees herself as having all these possibilities for doing everything in the world. In Defying Gravity, she realizes she needs Glinda's help to do that, and then at the end she realizes that she hasn't been able to do everything that she's wanted. Another thing about that unlimited theme, where have we heard this before? The semitone major 3rd, it's everywhere. Unlimited. My future is unlimited. And I've just had a vision almost like a prophecy. Ooh, what chord is that? That's so many double flats. I know it sounds truly crazy, and true, the vision's hazy, but I swear someday there'll be a celebration throughout Oz that's all to do with me. So, a celebration throughout Oz that's all to do with me. I have this vision that this is going to happen. And it sounds like she's talking about a celebration where everyone is celebrating her. But we know that the celebration that she's seeing in the future is actually celebrating her death because everyone hates her so much. So that's a heartbreaking moment of dramatic irony for us as the audience. But we also, what's really interesting about that musically is we have the same chords that show up in that good news section. Those those are like variations on the same series of chords that we hear in, you know, the celebration scene. So that's big brain stuff from Stephen Schwartz. But I swear someday there'll be a celebration throughout Oz that's all to do with me. And I'll stand there with the wizard, feeling things I've never felt. So there, every alphabet does something different there. Some big riff, feeling things I've never felt, or something. On the recording, Idina Menzel does, feeling things I've never felt. But what's written on the page right here is, feeling things I've never felt. Much more simple. That's a section where they really let whoever's playing the role to just kind of run wild with it. The other thing I want to point out here, going into this section where it changes keys, with me, and we're on a C7 chord here, and I'll stand there. That is what's called a tritone substitution. A tritone substitution is a fancy word for when you replace the dominant chord with the chord that is a tritone away. So you substitute a chord that's a tritone away, hence the name tritone substitution. And basically the fancy music explanation for this is that in a dominant 7 chord, there's a tritone that resolves into the major chord on the tonic. So that's why this cadence, this dominant tonic, is so satisfying, because of that tritone that resolves are the two parts. And the thing with tritones is that when you flip them upside down, they stay a tritone. So this tritone upside down is still a tritone. If you move that A sharp up the octave, you get another tritone. And so what that means is that you can take that tritone and you can find another dominant chord that has the same tritone in it. So here it's an E and an A sharp, which is also the same thing as a B flat. So F sharp 7 has that tritone in it, but so does C7. Which means that you can substitute the C7 in for the F sharp 7 when you're going F sharp 7, B, and it makes it feel spicy and jazzy without you losing that kind of direction that the dominant chord has. So instead of that, which is boring, we've heard it a billion times, it's, which is so much more epic. There's so much more gravitas to it. Me, and I'll stand there with the wizard, feeling things I've never felt. Rip it up, and though I never show it, I'd be so happy I could melt. Get it? Melt? Because she's the Wicked Witch of the West. And so it will be for the rest of my life, and I'll want nothing else till I die, held in such high esteem. When people see me, they will scream. So we were in B major there for that final chorus section. We're now back in C major. We just jumped there all of a sudden. We jump up a semitone, and now we're back in C major, which is where we started. When people see me, they will scream, for half of Oz's favorite team, the Wizard and I. Here it is again. That top part. So again, same thing. It's everywhere in this show, and that is what gives this show its like magical flavor. And I, she's holding a note. And it ends with these really strange chords under her holding the note, which is also a technique that musical theater contemporary writers have stolen from this show over and over and over. This is one of the earliest examples that I can think of this exact kind of thing that now happens all the time, where, you know, you'll have someone holding a big note at the end of a song and it'll go like, you know, like there'll be weird chords underneath while they hold the tonic, and that's stolen from this. Like, that's this idea of ending with these weird epic chords underneath that lead you to the final chord that it ends on. So here we have, and that's the big epic ending. And after that, after we've seen her be insecure and vulnerable, we've seen her be naive and excited, we've seen her belt her freaking face off. So of course we love this person, and we don't think of them as a wicked witch anymore. We just think of them as a misunderstood kid trying her best, and that's who we see the entire show. And that's why this show is so powerful, because it shows us that we can be wrong about people. So that's The Wizard and I. If you like this video, you know, do the things that you do on YouTube when you like a video, you know, subscribe and, you know, share it with all your friends and tell them to watch it. And, yeah, leave, you know, comments if there's anything you think I missed about this song that you really, really like, what your thoughts are on, you know, the meanings of this figure in The Wizard and I, this, like, starting on Fa versus the figure in Defying Gravity starting on Do. Like, what does that mean to you? And also, like, I'm using kind of like a bad camera right now and bad lighting. Let me know if the lighting was terrible and you hated it, and I'll change it for the next video. Maybe, if I want to. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. I'm Mateo Lewis, and this has been Music Theater Theory. Oh.